Hello, my name is Gabriel Anaya. I will be presenting the New Business Workshop, Taxes and Filing Requirements for New Businesses, presented by the Taxation and Revenue Department, Audit and Compliance Division. In today's agenda, we will be covering buying an existing business, applying for a BTIN, Business Tax Identification Number, registering for a Business Tax Identification Number, CRS redesign, due dates to include tax rates and calculations, TAP, compensating wage withholding, non-wage withholding, filing amended return, non-taxable transaction certificates or NTTCs, collections to include penalty and interest, marketplace sales, record keeping, managed audits, and contact information for the department. The Taxation and Revenue Department's mission vision statement, along with the strategic plan, aligned to enhance customer services experiences, expand outreach efforts, promote respectful exchange as far as employee and taxpayer interaction, along with demonstrating transparency through communication. The full mission vision statement and strategic plan can be viewed on our Taxation and Revenue website. For questions about this presentation, please utilize the new business email at new.businesses@state.nm.us, or you may call the TRD call center. Call volumes can generally be high with this option, extending wait times, so we do apologize for that. We do also offer a callback option, so if you select that option, a department employee will call you back within 1 business day. For any other tax relatable question or program issue, there's a list of additional email addresses. If your situation is not listed in one of these contacts, please utilize the new business email and we can refer you to the correct contact person. When buying an existing business without prior tax clearance, the purchaser may become liable for the seller's unpaid tax obligations. Required form to submit to the department is ACD 31096. If approved, the department will issue a tax clearance indicating no tax due. The Tax Information Authorization Form, TIA, Form ACD 31102, allows New Mexico Taxation and Revenue Department staff to speak to your authorized representative on your behalf. Without your authorization and a completed tax authorization form, we may be unable to discuss any information relatable to your tax accounts or any liability without your approval. When applying for a business tax identification number or a BTIN, required information is a federal ID number unless registering as a sole proprietorship without employees, physical location. PO box can be used for mailing addresses, however, we do need the physical location, and at least one association type, which would include an owner, partner, corporate officer. We do ask and require a social security number with that contact information. Aside from registering a business on paper, you can register for a business through Taxpayer Access Point or TAP using this link attached here. And it's the most efficient way to register for a business tax identification number or make updates to your profile information. Through our home page, you would just follow the tiles and locate the register for a business option and follow that link. And changes can also be made using the paper form again, ACD 31015. For locating additional information on TAP assistance, please click on the link listed on the TAP homepage. This will connect you to the department's YouTube channel with a variety of useful and helpful information. The department's combined reporting system saw a redesign July 1st of 2021. This redesign separated tax programs on the CRS form, which allows separate returns for gross receipts, withholding, and compensating tax, and also introduces a new non-wage withholding program. What is gross receipts tax? Unlike sales tax, the tax is on the seller. The seller is responsible for filing and paying the tax. This applies to the sale or lease of property and services. All transactions in New Mexico are taxable unless specified by an act of the legislature and become deductible or exempt. An exemption frees the seller of the requirement to report receipts from the exempted type of activity. A deduction requires the seller to report the receipts but allows them to deduct the receipts before calculating any liability. And the department requires taxpayers to retain substantiation of their records when claiming a deduction. For instance, the use of non-taxable transaction certificates. Gross receipts tax is now using destination-based sourcing. What is destination-based sourcing? Most businesses prior to July 1st, 2021 reported gross receipts tax using the rate in effect at their place of business, though there were exceptions such as the construction industry. Out-of-state remote sellers were paying only the statewide rate of 5.25%. Under destination-based sourcing, which was enacted on July 1st, 2021, businesses will need to pay the rate in effect of the jurisdiction of where the goods and services are delivered. The department has developed guidance for taxpayer compliance and is available in the FYI 200, your business location and the appropriate tax rate. Effective July 1st, 2021, businesses must now use destination-based sourcing to determine the proper tax rate. Retailers whose sales are wholly or primarily at their place of business will see little or no effect. However, if some of their sales are completed through deliveries, they will need to pay the rate in effect where the purchaser has them deliver the merchandise. The rules for service providers are more complex because they depend on the type of service provided. Tax rates. If you are in the construction business, your tax rate is determined by the location of each construction project. If you are a craftsperson who sells at crafts fairs where you rent a booth, that is your location for that period of time. You must use the corresponding tax rate. Service businesses, locations are outlined in the table in the next slide. Note, if the location is in a municipality within a county, the rate is that of the municipality. If you are unsure of your gross receipts tax rate, use the link on our TAP website to view the interactive gross receipts tax rate map. Destination-based sourcing or services, general services, in-person professional services, and tangible personal property as far as goods change from origin to destination-based sourcing. Professional services that require an advanced degree or a license from the state to perform when not in person will see no change and remain origin-based. Construction services and real estate commissions will see no change. They remain destination-based sourcing. If you are unable to identify your location code and tax rate, use the TRD location and gross receipts rate database. Links are available on our TRD website as well as in TAP. In 3 steps, you'll be able to identify your location code and tax rate. First, by entering the address. Once the address is entered, you'll click on the blue dot and then the right arrow to reveal the identified location code and gross receipts tax rate. Gross receipts filer's kits are available in any of our district offices. The filer's kits are also available for viewing online. Front cover of the filer's kit identifies department announcements, changes, any important information that you may need, due dates, department office locations and contacts, gross receipts tax rate schedules, gross receipts tax instructions and GRT forms, and additional forms and information. Due dates for filing and reporting taxes are included in the filer's kit. You have options as far as your filing status, which include monthly, quarterly, or semi-annual filing. Each period has a beginning and end date, and you have 25 days to report and file after the period ends. If your due date falls on a legal or state, national, or holiday or weekend, your return and payment due date will be extended to the next business day. You are not penalized for reporting and paying early. However, you cannot file online until after the period you are filing ends. The tax rate table lists the appropriate location code and tax rate for all the municipalities and counties throughout the state of New Mexico. For filing period requirements, you may choose your filing status type as monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually, but if you report an average of $200 or more in total tax liability per month, this will require you to file monthly. If you owe $25,000 or more in tax, you must make arrangements to file electronically and pay by electronic funds transfer, or EFT, and reference FYI 108. This tax calculation provides an example of how to separate or back out the tax amount from your gross when both are included on your invoices. If tax is included in gross receipts, you will need to back out the gross receipts tax before entering the amount of gross receipts. Follow the step-by-step instructions below. I talked about the redesign of our CRS-1 form. Taxpayer Access Point, or TAP, has also seen some improvements. There's been an addition of Speedy, our online assistant, who can answer questions as you're navigating through TAP. And he's the little roadrunner just above the login credential line. Just a note, if you had an existing TAP account, the access has not changed. Your original credentials will still work. Filing in TAP is quick and easy. However, it does require a login, and you must attach the applicable tax programs that you're wishing to file returns on. Payments can still be made on the TAP homepage using the non-login process. To file a simple gross receipts tax return, you must identify the gross receipts tax program in TAP, bringing up your information, allowing you to enter gross receipts on the applicable line. You must indicate yes or no when filing gross receipts, or identify if you have deductions or any special rates to report. As identified, any previously filed location code will pre-populate once you enter this step of the gross receipts return. After you have completed the return in TAP, you will have the option to make payment. Once you select that payment option, two payment types appear. Credit card, which includes a convenience fee of 2.4%, or an e-check option, which contains no fee. Once you've entered your information, banking, whether banking or credit card information, you must confirm, sign, and submit for filing the payment. Local option compensating tax took effect on July 1st, 2021. Similar to the local option gross receipts tax, local compensating tax rates will be added to the state rate. Not expecting a lot of compensating tax filers after gross receipts moves to a destination-based sourcing, because more sellers will remit gross receipts on properties shipped into New Mexico. Compensating tax may now be enforced against individuals. Wage withholding. Who files a wage withholding tax return? File this return if you are an employer who withholds New Mexico tax from your employee. Who is required to withhold? Every employer doing business in New Mexico or deriving income from within New Mexico who pays wages or other remuneration to an employee and who is required to withhold federal income tax must withhold New Mexico income tax. Non-wage withholding. Who files a non-wage withholding tax return? The non-wage withholding tax return is for individuals who withhold New Mexico withholding tax from payments or pensions and annuities, gambling winnings, or some other purpose that does not include wages paid to employees. Who is required to withhold? The operators of gambling establishments such as racetracks, casinos, state lotteries, and organizations that hold bingo events, including nonprofit entities, must withhold 6% from winnings for state purposes if they are required to withhold or report for federal purposes. Withholding is required for both residents and non-residents. If you need to correct or amend the return, the easiest way is to open the return in TAP, select the Amend button, and follow the steps to make the changes. You would fill out the report with the correct information, or as it should have been filed originally or correctly. Pay the difference if you owe, adding penalty and interest, or send the form with the application for refund if you've overpaid using form RPD 41071, or online through TAP, as I mentioned. There's a video instruction on how to amend the return in TAP. Follow this link. I will cover a few steps on how to make the correction when identifying that a return needs to be amended. First, the taxpayer realizes that new destination-based sourcing rules were not followed and needs to amend the return. Second, the taxpayer would correct the location for reporting. And third, the location may result in less tax owed, so may generate a credit balance. In completing the next steps in the amendment process, the taxpayer specifies the amendment reason, which is required if the reduction in tax exceeds a threshold. Also, the selected amendment reason requires the taxpayer to attach supporting evidence to support their claim or back up the information. After the amendment is complete, you will request your refund because the account now has a credit, and TAP prompts the taxpayer to request a refund. Non-taxable transaction certificates, or NTTCs, are issued by the buyer lessee to the seller lessor for the non-taxable purchase or lease of material and or services. The buyer lessee does not pay gross receipts tax on the purchase. This creates a deduction for the seller or lessor. NTTC forms are generated and executed online in TAP only and can be printed if necessary. Type of NTTC is dependent on the NICS code entered when applying for a BTIN number. This example qualifies for a Type 5, which is our services for resale. NTTCs are also available on TAP under More Account Options. To access these options, click the View NTTC Options link. Most commonly used NTTC types are a Type 2, which are the purchase of tangibles for resale. Type 5 would be a purchase of services for resale. Type 6 for construction contractors, materials, and services. And a Type 9 for tangibles purchased by a not-for-profit, 501c3, and governmental agency. For more information, please see the FYI 204. There are additional, more specific types of NTTCs with additional requirements. Type 10, available to persons that hold an interest in a qualified generating facility. A certificate from the New Mexico Environment Department is required. Type 11, consumable product used in the manufacturing process. The required form RPD 41378. Type 12, utilities used in the manufacturing process. Forms RPD 41378 and RPD 41377 are required. Type 15, for tangibles purchased by a qualified federal contractor, and a copy of the federal contract would be reviewed by the department. Type 16, for qualified film production companies, material and services, a proof of registration with the New Mexico Film Division would be required. Out-of-state buyer certificates, or OSBs, are not available online. You must contact a district office to obtain. The type OSB NTTCs are issued to registered New Mexico sellers or lessors to execute to out-of-state buyers who are not registered with the department. Tangibles purchased in the state will be resold outside of the state of New Mexico. There are several types of notices and letters you may receive from the department: assessment letters, recomp notices and billings, non-filer notices. Any of these you would be able to confirm and research your records on tap. You could contact the department for any questions. For assessments, you could contact and schedule payment arrangements and potentially protest if necessary. Beginning June 30th, 2021, the department will no longer accept payments to the bank account reference number here. ACH and Fedwire payments made to this bank account on or after June 30th, 2021 were returned to taxpayers and may have incurred penalties and interest on tax owed. Payments settled on the said account by June 29th were processed. The following tax-specific account numbers replace the old CRS bank account number and are listed as follows. Taxpayers are required to initiate separate payments for each of the new programs they are paying. For more information and a full list of bank accounts, go to tax.newmexico.gov, select Forms and Publications, and the FYI 400 series, select FYI 401, Special Payment Methods. New Mexico Personal Income Tax Estimated Taxes. Persons who are self-employed should not report withholding tax on their wages. Self-employed individuals should make estimated payments using the forms PIT-ES. Estimated payments can be made on tap directly into a PIT account without logging in. What if I'm unable to pay? The department will work with you if you are unable to make a one-time payment in full of your outstanding liability. A payment plan is a contract between you and the department. When you are on a payment plan, the department does not actively pursue collections. First, short-term payment plan allows you 12 or fewer months to pay off a liability, and a lien is not required to be filed. A long-term payment plan allows 72 or fewer months to pay off a liability, but a lien is required to be filed. If you do not make the minimum payment, make payments late, establish new debt, or do not file required returns, the department sends a delinquent agreement letter and may pursue account and/or wage levies. Apply for a payment plan on tap to see all the terms and types available to you. You can set your own terms. Choose your down payment, set your own monthly payment amount, set the day of the month that you want to make your payments, and also set up payments that may be automatically deducted so you never miss a payment. Penalty and interest. Penalty is calculated at 2% per month of the total tax due. Maximum penalty is 20%. A minimum penalty is $5. A minimum $5 penalty is assessed for failure to file timely. Effective January 1st, 2008, the interest rate charged in underpayment of taxes administered by New Mexico Taxation and Revenue Department is reduced to the annual rate established by the IRS. The rate of the past several years has ranged from 3% to 9%. Interest is computed on a daily basis. Even if the gross receipts equal zero, you still must file a timely return or you will be assessed the minimum $5 penalty. The compliance continuum outlines a level of risk and expense not only to the department but you as a taxpayer. Through the levels of the chart, you identify certain risks, potential actions, and other detailed information. What happens if I fall out of compliance? You have the ability to apply for a managed audit if you are unsure of how you should file or if you do not understand the taxability of your transactions. The department will anonymously discuss with you or your representative whether individual situations meet the managed audit eligibility requirements. Penalty is waived and interest is waived if you pay the liability within 180 days from the audit close date. If you would like to know more, the following resources are available to you. Marketplace sales. A marketplace facilitator is a business or organization that contracts with third parties to sell goods and services on its platform and facilitates retail sales. Marketplace facilitators enable these sales by listing the products, taking the payments, collecting receipts, and in some cases assisting in shipment. A marketplace provider is defined as any person who facilitates a retail sale by a retailer. By 1, listing the advertising sales by the retailer, and 2, collecting payments from the retailer's customers and transmitting those payments to the retailer. You are a marketplace seller if you make retail sales through either a physical or electronic marketplace operated by a marketplace facilitator. A marketplace seller may deduct receipts for sales, leases and licenses of tangible personal property, sales of licenses and sales of services or licenses for use of real property that are collected and paid by a marketplace provider. The requirement: the marketplace seller must obtain documentation from the marketplace provider indicating that the marketplace provider is registered with the department and has remitted or will remit taxes due on the gross receipts from those transactions. The department has many free publications available that give a more detailed explanation of certain issues. All of the FYIs are available online at www.tax.newmexico.gov under the Forms and Publications tab. For record keeping, it's recommended that you keep all of your tax records for 7 to 10 years, as audits can go back that far. For more on managed audits, the Managed Audit Program allows qualifying taxpayers to come into compliance with tax programs subject to the Tax Administration Act, such as personal income, gross receipts, corporate, withholding, and compensating tax. During a managed audit, a taxpayer reviews their records alone or with the guidance of a department auditor. If a taxpayer finds the taxes are owed, they can pay the tax without payment of penalty and interest as long as the entire balance is paid within 180 days from the assessment. Acceptance into the Managed Audit Program is not automatic. You must apply and meet certain eligibility requirements, must not have already been selected for audit, not currently being pursued for collections, demonstrates a willingness and ability to comply with New Mexico tax laws, demonstrates an acceptable system of internal controls and records, and it may have not been the subject of a criminal investigation. The taxpayer must show that there are resources available to conduct the managed audit, must not already be in a legal dispute with the department over the taxability of the transactions that are the subject of the managed audit. The managed audit does not apply to existing liabilities, and the taxpayer's outstanding liability was paid in full prior to requesting the managed audit agreement. Apply for a managed audit if you are unsure of how you should file or if you do not understand the taxability of your transactions. The department will anonymously discuss with you or your representative whether individual situations meet the managed audit eligibility requirements. Penalty is waived and interest is waived if you pay the liability within 180 days from the audit close date. If you would like to know more, the following resources are available. Here again are a list of contacts for questions specific to this presentation. Please utilize the new business email or the TRD call center number. Again, with the call center, we apologize that we know that there are extended wait times, but we do also offer again that callback feature. When you select the callback feature, you will be called back by a department employee within 1 business day. And again, for any other specific services or tax program information, there's a list of additional email addresses. If your situation, or at least the question you have, does not relate to any of these services or programs, please utilize the new business email and you'll be directed to the correct contact person. That brings us to our conclusion. We definitely appreciate the time that you've invested in watching our presentation, taking an interest in the requirements for new businesses, and on behalf of the department, we thank you very much. Have a good day.